That was epic.
That was pretty cool.
That
was
different ones now.
I was not expecting that. I was like, God, I feel like we're like marching into battle here. Let's do this.
Oh man, that was a blast.
Like Gladiator, boy.
Yeah, let's fight. Oh, what's up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horn, and this is the NWA. It is a podcast celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest pro wrestling entity of all time. Of course, we're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance. We're much more than that, though. We're a show, a community. We're a hashtag NWA fam. And with me, as always, my life partners, my lovers, my friends till the end, my ride or dies. Hey, it's Will.Daily. Hey, Will.
What's up?
That's Will Martin. I don't know why I always call you Hey, it's Will.Daily. And Rob Stinson, too, the doctor. He's a real doctor.
Namaste.
Oh, man. Well, there's plenty of news to talk about today. We've got Bloodsport on in the background. If you guys are interested in that is available on Fight TV, or stay tuned. And we'll, so that's going on right now. Simon Grimm is taking on Matt Makowski. But this, of course, is headlined by Jon Moxley versus Chris Dickinson, the Dirty Daddy, who, if you've been sticking with us through UWN Primetime Live, you've seen plenty of him. Of course, Homicide is here this evening on Bloodsport. He's going to be taking on Filthy Tom Lawler. And Allison Kay is a former NWA Women's Champion. She's in a tournament that also features the American Kaiju, Lindsay Snow. And much to our happiness or satisfaction, they're on opposite ends of that tournament bracket. So there's a possibility we're going to see a tournament finals tonight that is of the American Kaiju, Lindsay Snow versus Allison Kay. Rob, does that make your heart aflutter?
All weekend, man. All weekend. I've been thinking about the prospects of that.
Yeah, this is exciting stuff. All right. Well, I guess we'll just start off. How you guys feeling today? Good?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, man.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
All right, we got to get Rob to perk up.
All right, Rob, it's time to wake up, baby. I'm gonna. Oh man, Will, if you want to, I guess how do we do this? Should you just drop like a casual link to somebody in the chat that if they wanted to check out and see what it is over on the Cast app, we could do that, and that's all we'll say about it for now.
Yeah.
And from our friends at Fight TV. And probably what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about Bloodsport as we go on, just give you the results, tell you what's going on as that happens. But we'll also talk about wrestling news and just the same old hashtag NWA fam community, brotherhood, sisterhood also. What's it called? What's that called?
Synergy.
Synergy. Yeah, maybe that's it. I like that. Synergy.
Or it looked like perforation.
Sure, perforation. Looks like Simon Grimm just took out Matt Makowski with a KO, it appears. So did you guys see that knockout on UFC from Saturday night?
I did not. What happened?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was the two-toe Grandanza spinning. Yeah,
the two-toe Grandanza. I think somebody actually finally pulled it off in UFC. It was outstanding.
They call it the most epic knockout of all time in UFC, man.
It's pretty wicked, Will. You should look it up. It's but the guy basically goes for a kick. The dude catches his foot, and then he does like an enziguri, sort of, but it's like he flips face down in the air and back kicks him in the face, but it just knocks the guy out. It's just it's pretty amazing. He gets his foot off, then he just like spin kicks the guy in the face.
He Pele'd him, man, and then this, if you see the full clip, this guy's legs is like twitching, man. Like they killed him. I was like, holy, he's dead, man. But evidently he's okay. So
it's pretty impressive. So anyway, worth your time to go out of your way and check it out. All right. Well, I guess we'll just jump into to some news. We'll talk about it so we can wake Rob up. Rob, I'll let you pick so we know what's going to spice up your life here as this young lady walks out to the ring on the blood sport. I don't know her name, or I'd tell you. But you know what? We're going to focus on the news for now, I guess. So,
yeah, her name is Killer Kelly, bro.
Kendra Kelly.
Killer Kelly.
Killer Kelly. We know a Killer Kate that was that.
Yeah. Killer Kate and Killer Kelly, yeah.
How's the chat doing? How are you guys doing today? Feeling good out there?
That's a question to the chat or to us.
It was the chat. I said, how's that? Well, I mean, I guess you could answer for the chat.
I already answered. I was like, hold on now.
Alice
in the house.
Walking out.
Looking sizzling.
Here we go.
Oh man, see now we'll want to watch that too. It's tough life we lead.
But she looks intense, man. And this whole notion of no ring ropes and all that, it's just it's weird.
Oh.
Somebody still got their sound on.
Oh, maybe it's me.
Yeah.
I don't know how I gotta turn off my alert sounds. Let's see.
This is the NWA, polished as always.
This is exciting.
Higher than average FPSs. It's just what you've come to know, love, and expect from this show. Welcome. Happy Sunday.
Sorry if we're getting distracted with things. Where is the... Here, I'm going to try something.
Man, my FPSs is on point tonight, man. Normally I'm all pixelated and everything and claymation.
Yeah, that's kind of by design. We try to blur you out a little bit, but we didn't have time to set it up tonight.
If I do this...
That's true, man. There's only room for 2 or 3, I don't know, sex symbols in the NWA, I guess, between me and Aldis and Tom Latimer, I guess.
Oh, man.
All right. I don't know if that posted on the... oh, you did it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yep.
Yeah, Clint's in the chat. Yeah, Bloodsport does not use ring ropes, oddly enough. So it's just like UFC style. It's only like knockout and submission. I don't think there's pinfalls or anything like that. And so, yeah, it's trying to go MMA, but it's more of a wrestling thing. It's a wrestling ring, I guess, but just no ropes. And they can go out. I don't think there's any rules either, because I feel like I saw somebody use a chair on one of these ones. But anyway, Rob, if we were to talk about some news, what kind of news would you like to talk about?
You gonna put it on me, huh?
Well, I'm just saying, I got news from every company.
I definitely need to open up and talk about probably the biggest news item so far is that we have a tournament bracket for the Mission Pro Women's Championship.
Hell yeah! I like
it's
that.
going down, and all of our brackets are immediately busted.
Yeah, well, it's pretty crazy. I was going to lead into that, too, by saying also it was a weird thing that Thunder Rosa had to announce this week that she had to let go of her Tokyo Joshi Pro Princess Championship. So she is no longer the champion there, but I think she was technically, I don't know. I read in one place she was stripped. I read another place she let it go. So whatever way, like she can't travel to Japan right now to defend it, so she's having to give it up. They are going to have an 8-woman tournament to compete for that title and decide a new champion. So, Thunder Rosa, I'm sure, will be right back to Japan as soon as she is able to go back and get that thing. All right. And so leading into that, speaking of tournaments, as Rob said, the tournament brackets have been announced for Mission Pro Wrestling's Tournament Out of Hell, and all the matches. I think the whole card's been laid out for us, so we can run through that real quick. As Rob alluded to, our brackets are already busted, sort of, I guess, because Will and I think picked Maddie Rinkowski. Rob picked Rachel Rose, and they are competing in the first round. That is a first-round matchup, and that's a sad day. One of us is going to be wrong right at the beginning, and I don't know. It's just it's a bummer to see them go against each other so early. I was hoping that'd be like a semifinal, maybe even a finals match, but here we are. And that's no slight on MPW, by the way. I mean, that's just good matchmaking. That's what you want to have happen. But it's just, we love those two women, and they're already competing right up top. Did your heart sink, Rob, when you saw that initially?
Well, I mean, again, this is a stacked tournament. You think you've got Red Velvet and you've got La Rosa Negra both in this tournament. And they're obviously going to be favorites for a lot of people. They're very experienced, very good. Ryan Romano and I are both going to be there to witness this in person. But I feel like that Maddie Rinkowski and Rachel Rose both have the fire right now, and they've got something to prove. They're younger, but nonetheless brutal or able and certainly capable of winning this whole thing. All 8 of the women in this are capable of winning the whole thing outright. But for me, man, I think right now one of the up and coming big time names that you're going to see a lot of the time in a lot of big venues is going to be the Queen of House Rose, Rachel Rose herself. And I got her winning this whole doggone thing.
Wow, Rachel Rose for the win. Will, you still feeling strong about this? I mean, let's run through the rest of the tournament here real quick so we can tell you what to expect. Maddie Rinkowski versus Rachel Rose is on one side. Also, the other match on that side of the brackets is Vert Vixen taking on Lacey Ryan. We saw Vert Vixen at Hell Hath No Fury. She teamed up with Jenna Lynn, I believe. Lacey Ryan we just saw on UWN Primetime Live. And those two are going to be facing off. The winner of that match will face off against the winner of Rachel Rose and Maddie Rinkowski. On the opposite side of the brackets, we've got Red Velvet versus Alex Gracia. Alex Gracia and Red Velvet were both at Hell Hath No Fury. We saw Red Velvet in a match against who did she face? She fought Maddie. And then Alex Gracia was, God, I'm trying to remember what Alex Gracia did. She was there. I know she was there. Rob's looking at that card behind him.
Let's see here. Who are you asking about?
Alex Gracia. I was just trying to remember who
Avery Taylor in the first match. That's right. Weird match. It was the pre-card match with Holodead, and then Avery Taylor defeated Alex Gracia. So
there it is. Okay. And then on the same side of the bracket as them is La Rosa Negra versus Aligato. So those two, whoever wins out of Rosa Negra and Aligato will take on Red Velvet and Alex Gracia, or whichever one wins out of that. So pretty interesting. It's going to be exciting to see what happens there. Will, how do you feel about this bracket? And are you still hanging on to your same picks? What's it feel like is going to happen in this one for you?
Yeah, I'm sticking with my pick. I mean, just looking at, the 8 ladies that are going to be competing in this. I mean, we talk about brackets being busted, but man, it's such a stacked tournament to begin with that, I mean, everyone's got to have a first round match, right? I mean, and all the first round matches could be a potential final if you book it in your head. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm kind of excited about the fact that we're getting Rachel Rose and Maddie Rinkowski in that first round, because now at least we know we're going to get to see the match, and there will be some bragging rights here from the Bearded Trio about whoever comes out on top of that match. So, if it hadn't have been a first round match, we might not have gotten to see that matchup. So it's pretty cool that we're getting to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder. So, just off the cuff, just if we're going to do this real quick, this is what I say. I say Maddie Rinkowski versus Lacey Ryan. Maddie Rinkowski goes to the finals. Red Velvet and Alex Gracia. I'm going to say Red Velvet goes on. La Rosa Negra goes on. La Rosa Negra takes out Red Velvet, and it's La Rosa Negra versus Maddie Rinkowski, and I'm going to give it to Maddie Rinkowski. That's my bracket right this second, off the cuff. What about you, Rob?
You're all wrong, man. Rachel Rose defeats Maddie Rinkowski in an epic match, and this may be the match of the night. Until we get to a semifinal match between Red Velvet and La Rosa Negra, both of them coming off of very tough but defeats at Hell Hath No Fury, so both of them are hungry too. I've got Red Velvet, who lost a close one. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I've got La Rosa Negra, who lost a close one to Big Swole, beating Red Velvet in the semifinals matches to move on to take on Rachel Rose, who had just defeated Brooks Dixon in the semifinal match. So I've got Rachel Rose taking on La Rosa Negra in the finals, and Rachel Rose emerging as your new Mission Pro champion. Bank on it.
Interesting. All right, Will, it's your turn.
I'm pretty much in line with what you said, Gary. I don't have the card that you just ran through right in front of me to visualize it, but I definitely was thinking La Rosa Negra and Maddie Rinkowski in that final match, and sticking with Maddie Rinkowski as my pick.
Yeah, and that's just me hedging that I at least get La Rosa Negra in the finals there, because I feel like she looked good last time, and
yep.
She's been around the Horde for a while, and so she I don't know, it'd just be interesting to see that matchup. I think the rookie versus the veteran.
Yeah, exactly. It's young line versus the old, not old. I mean, she's very young still, but versus the veteran. La Rosa Negra and Red Velvet. This might be your other marquee matchup if it plays out the way we expect of the tournament. But I just don't see anybody. I mean, I think I've seen her in person, man. I've smelled the perfume. My back went out just at the opportune time, just to and to bring me within 2 centimeters of that boot. But I've got Rachel Rose guaranteed to win this thing, guaranteed.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. It's guaranteed. Also on this card, we got a fatal 4-way match between Heidi Howitzer, Rochelle Riveter, Vanity, and the Insidious One. I don't know much about any one of these ladies, I don't think, but I like Heidi Howitzer's look. She looks super cool. I like her. Next up, you've also got Genocide versus WOAD, Weapon of Mass Destruction, I've been told. Ryan Romano said he's going to lose it for the Insidious One, so I'm guessing he's familiar. I don't know if that's me that's making that sound, but just so you know, I don't know how to turn it off. So there we are. And you know how I do turn it off? I'll just close Discord. That's what I'll do. Done. You both look so disappointed in me.
Then how will you know when Rob has to go number 2?
He can put it in the private chat here. Or text me. Just text me Dookie, as you always do. And all right. And then the final match is Thunder Rosa defending her NWA Women's Championship against Ray Lynn. And Ray Lynn, I'm not familiar with either, I guess. But so that's going to be interesting. She looks cool. I'm going to be doing my research before this show, and I'm excited. Of course, Thunder Rosa is going to retain, so it doesn't really matter. Turns out that's not me, by the way, because my just shut off. So
Must have been Rob.
Not me. I don't have it open. I just got the one. Yeah, I just got this up. So somebody's got it up somewhere.
I got headphones on, so my computer's not making any noise. So it's got to be you, Rob.
Yeah, Rob. What ifs? Anyway.
Yeah, I got Thunder Rosa too, man. I got Thunder Rosa winning this. There's no way in the world that anybody beats Thunder Rosa right now. Probably only one person that can even compete with her, hold a candle with her. Right? What are you doing, bro? Heck no.
Get my stencil on.
Doing this gimmick.
Allison Kay, I think is the one that ultimately Thunder Rosa's got to look at as being the biggest immediate threat. Then we've got, of course, Priscilla Kelly and Lindsay Snow waiting in the wings for rematches, very deserved rematches. Camille, Camille's in there too. She's in that discussion. I think she realizes that she impressed us all with that fantastic win over Heather Monroe, showing that she can compete with the best of all of them. And when that happens, when that Camille Thunder Rosa match happens, it's going to be much like the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. I mean, it's going to be epic.
Speaking of Allison Kay, though, there earlier, she just won her first round match. So she is, I think it's only one round and then the finals. So she's advancing to the finals, and she's going to be taking off on the winner of the Lindsay Snow match that's coming up next. So we may get our wish yet. Allison Kay is definitely advanced. Oh, let's see. What else is in the news? I did want to mention, Rob, I don't know your familiarity with, who was it? Lorraine Johnson Roberts, who by legend was, this is from The Observer, was one half of the greatest women's tag team in the world, at least until the past few years in North American history, passed away on October 5th at the age of 90. Her name was Lorraine Johnson. She and Penny Banner were two high-flying women's wrestlers who specialized in moves like drop kicks and flying head scissors that most men didn't even do back then. She did a lot of publicity stuff for the wrestling promotions from 58 to 60. Their athletic style in the ring wasn't matched by women wrestlers for a good 2 decades until the Japanese women wrestlers of the Jaguar Yokota era and tag teams like the Crush Gals and the Jumping Bomb Angels. Johnson retired young, though, right after her 31st birthday, and her getting pregnant with her first child, who you would actually know far better in pro wrestling today as Baby Doll. And did you have any idea about that, Rob?
I actually saw Baby Doll commenting on that the other day, and I have to admit I have not been. It's really hard to go out there. You know, for example, if you were to go and try to Google Lorraine Johnson and Penny Banner, you'll find stuff. You'll find a lot of stuff on Pinterest, and there's even a few matches out there on YouTube and all that. But the tag team division in the NWA in those days was so curious because it was treated like a curiosity feature. You know, it wasn't treated with the kind of respect that it has today. And it's a shame because by all accounts, Lorraine Johnson and Penny Banner were maybe one of the 3 or 4 or 5 greatest women's tag teams of all time. You know, and this is for, like you mentioned, this is for a woman who retired very early in her career. So you just extrapolate what would happen had she continued on and on. But yes, she did pass away, and you can go to Baby Doll's page and in her social medias, and there's some wonderful tributes there and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's a great loss.
Rob, we're going to lose Rob for a minute since the American Kaiju Lindsay Snow has made her appearance on Bloodsport. So Rob's focus will wane, I'm sure.
This girl, radioactive, man. She is radioactive.
What he means by that is he was looking at her butt because that's where the symbol was at. So but I will say this. I thought Snow is short at 5'2". This girl is shorter. So like Snow looks like the giant compared to her in this one. 4'11" is Hirsch, who she's taken on. But
Lindsay Snow, though, man. Lindsay Snow, just so you guys know, for those of you who've looked into her, I mean, we're all familiar with her. Lindsay Snow has a very deep and seasoned background in multiple forms of combat arts, from Greco-Roman wrestling to freestyle to Muay Thai to MMA to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or obviously here MMA here, but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When she's actually a guest on Piper's Notes coming up, and when we talked with her, she had just left like 3 hours of Muay Thai and was heading on in an hour and a half to her second session of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that afternoon. And this is a woman who studies this, who takes it seriously, who has an interest even in pursuing other forms of combat arts, from some more kick-oriented stuff like Taekwondo and whatnot. But she is a legit force, and she is not a stranger to blood sport. She was in the second blood sport, if I'm not mistaken. She was submitted in that one, but she knew immediately after leaving that she wanted to be back, and she was guaranteed a spot back if she wanted it. And here she is, and you know, I got her and Allison Kay in the finals of this.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. Will, you doing okay over there, buddy?
Yeah, man. Just trying to get in the groove here.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's see. What else in the news realm can we talk about? I'll just start at the top of my list here. During an interview with Bleacher Report talking about this year's WWE draft, Kevin Owens mentioned nearly moving down to NXT as a regular before the decision was made to chalk that and keep him on the main roster. His exact quote was, "Last year at some point I was going to go back to NXT. It was all in motion, and it was going to happen, and then it didn't. To say that it's a thought that crossed my mind would be an understatement. But I would tell you right now that that's not the case anymore. That's just not where I'm at. Now I want to be on Raw or be on SmackDown and just fight like hell to create some memorable, say that again, moments for everybody. That's all I want at this point." So Kevin Owens admitting he was going to go to NXT. That's interesting news. I mean, I guess a lot of people were kind of predicting that anyway. Sounds like he's choosing to stay with Raw or SmackDown. I don't know why, but what do you? Any thoughts on Kevin Owens and where his career's headed from here?
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, it was right when Dynamite launched and NXT went live, and I think he was either on or it was rumored that he was going to show up at one of the first couple of NXT live episodes. And it seemed like, something they were going to try to do to reinvigorate NXT by giving it, a big main roster name, which eventually, as we know, they went and did with Finn Balor, which, I think is a pretty good move. I think I was excited at the time, I remember, because KO was – he's not, except for when he was Universal Champion and he had, his partnership with Chris Jericho and was kind of a top of the card guy. He's just always been underutilized, in my opinion. And so I was excited about that. I can see how he would have been excited about that. But, my hope for him is that he'll eventually reach that same spot. I mean, it's the same conversation we keep having about Cesaro and Shinsuke and guys like that really deserve to be in those top spots. And that's nothing against Drew McIntyre or anyone like that. It's just that, KO is one of the best out there. And he's a smart wrestler. He's accomplished. And he deserves the spotlight much more than he's being given. So, I'm glad he's staying on the main roster. And I just would hope that they would utilize him more moving forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it's Kevin Owens, when he's really feeling it, is one of the best on the mic of anybody. I mean, his exchange with Shane McMahon with Shane McMahon when they were going back and forth here not too long ago. I mean, you want to talk about somebody being believable? Kevin Owens was fire, and I just got distracted by a bloody nose of Lindsay Snow.
Uh-oh.
And let's see.
I guess that was it. They're going to announce the decision. There it is.
Yes, boy, the finals is set. I called it. Oh, guys, I'm gonna be. Y'all ain't gonna get anything out of me here in this match.
We got Alex K and Lindsay Snow is going to happen. That's going to be fantastic.
Wow.
That's exciting stuff.
Look at that nose, man. She's
She
busted.
knows she looks badass too. She knows. Yeah. You're looking tough, Lindsay. I know this is exciting.
We're just, yeah. If you want more details,
I don't hear nothing. All I hear is just a fool to believe I am anything she needs. She's like the wind.
Rob knows his way to my heart with some Patrick Swayze, so you're gonna get me there, Rob. That's it.
Lindsay Snow pulling off a little Tanya Stinson there. I hate for her to leave, but I'd rather watch her go or something like that.
Oh, Rob, what a way to promote your daughter's show. What's next up? So speaking of WWE, let's just get the rest of it out of the way. WWE did hold night one of its latest draft on this past Friday's episode of SmackDown, with both Raw and SmackDown picking from the first pool of eligible wrestlers. Here's how that turned out. SmackDown got Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Big E, and Otis. Raw got Drew McIntyre, Asuka, The Hurt Business, AJ Styles, Naomi, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Ricochet, Mandy Rose, The Miz, Morrison, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Dana Brooke, and Angel Garza. Monday Night Raw is a 3-hour show compared to 2 hours for Friday Night SmackDown. That's why they get 3 picks for every 2 that SmackDown gets. Here's a list of eligible wrestlers that were eligible to be drafted on night one, but they weren't. Murphy, Shorty G, Lucha House Party, Tucker, Humberto Carrillo, Drew Gulak, Elias, and Mickie James. And the draft will pick up again on Raw. So, yeah, you heard right. A lot of things there. They broke up the New Day, which is one of the big news items coming out of that night. So Xavier and Kofi are on one side and Big E's on the other. Also, they broke up Otis and Tucker, it sounds like. But then the other big news is that Mickie James wasn't even drafted because F these people. That's why. That's what they did. Mickie James, actually, though, on Saturday morning did not waste time. I did find that she put out a tweet on Saturday morning saying, a little WWE free agent fun fact for you. Mickie James has more career and title wins than Humberto Carrillo, Murphy, Drew Gulak, Tucker, Lucha House Party, and Shorty G combined. Enjoy your day. Hashtag no offense. Hashtag you seem like nice people. Hashtag just the facts. Hashtag I'm a free agent. So
you seem like nice people. That's good. Classic. It's classic.
Yeah. So that Mickie James get a little salty there, but who could blame her, honestly? I don't.
She's one of the greatest of all time, man. This isn't us just like marking out to her. This is an objective fact that she is she's a legend. She's still very, very much in her prime. And this woman needs to be, it's just unconscionable. It's unconscionable. She's one of the greats. And anybody who disacknowledges that is a freaking idiot.
Disacknowledges. Is that a real word?
It is.
For real? That's awesome.
It is. If the doc says it, it's real.
All right. Then let's see. Impact just announced that EC3 and Moose will duke it out at an undisclosed location as part of the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. EC3's made a handful of trips to get physical with Moose, mostly in the form of cowardly attacks from the back. Bound for Glory will be the first time in an official contest EC3 will be competing since his return. You'd think it would be a wrestling match, but who knows? This seems like maybe it's going to be like one of those cinematic matches. So we'll have to wait and see. I guess it's also worth mentioning that a storyline's been unfolding on Impact in recent weeks where Kid Shamrock has been listening to Sami Callihan, who is looking to exert control over Kid Shamrock. Callahan's goal is to unlock the same uncontrollable Shamrock from earlier days in Shamrock's career. You know, when he'd I'm in the zone. It's 5-knuckle shuffle time. Wait, that's not what he said, but that's something like that. So anyway, the match was made after Callahan put out on Twitter, I love when a plan comes together. Since Eddie Edwards lost his rematch to Eric Young, which I knew he would, it looks like he's free at Bound for Glory. Here is my challenge. Eddie versus Ken Shamrock. BFG. Book it. Impact, not long after, confirmed that that match would be booked, and Ken Shamrock is taking on Eddie Edwards. So right now, Bound for Glory, which is a big deal for Impact, and they're trying to really push the hell out of this thing. You've got Ken Shamrock versus Eddie Edwards, EC3 versus Moose at an undisclosed location, an X Division Championship scramble, Rohit Raju versus Jordan Grace versus Willie Mack versus Chris May versus TJP versus Trey McGill. You had a tag team championship match, the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Good Brothers versus the North versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. You got a Knockouts championship match, Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Ray. And you got an Impact World Championship match, which is Eric Young versus Rich Swann. So there you go. That's what's happening on Bound for Glory. Not sure if you guys are following along with Impact or have any interest in that, but just thought you'd like to know. All right, moving on. So next up, Jim Ross, who was recent, who obviously you know who Jim Ross is. I don't know why I was about to tell you. On his Grill and JR podcast, I just thought this was interesting. He spoke out on some criticism he's been getting as of late. Saying that he's not bothered by those who don't like his commentary work, but he admits that he has issues with those that enjoy tagging Tony Khan when they speak about their dislikes. When it comes to tagging Khan on Twitter, Ross said, the guy has a right to his opinion, first of all. I'm not pissed at him. He's meaningless to me. But the issue is he had to tag Tony. Tony reads his tweets, especially on those tape show nights. He's all over the damn thing. That's where I got an issue. To your ears, I did suck. If I did, I'll do better. You're going to single out Tony to make sure Tony hears that a fan had a negative reaction to my work. I thought that was pure chicken shit. It's just amazing to me, the society we live in. Continuing on with the conversation, Ross said that he's never lost his passion for wrestling despite what others think. Ross said, the day that I embarrass myself, that I can't keep up or articulate what we're seeing, when I can't process the stories talents are telling, I'll quit. To talk about somebody's effort or that I don't have passion, how the hell can you say that? For somebody to tell me on Twitter that I've lost my passion is total horseshit. It kind of hurts your feelings. It just pisses you off. If you want to express yourself as a fan, have at it. But when you're getting personal, don't go there. I think these people would say things on Twitter they would never say to your face. Well, I can confirm that that's true. I mean, that's
yeah.
Twitter. Any thoughts on Jim Ross there, fellas?
Yeah, I mean, Jim Ross, I mean, you can he's got a fair point. I mean, you can criticize certain things about his work or if it's your preference or not, but I mean, don't come at the man personally. The dude's a legend. I mean, he's the credentials are there. Like, you know what I mean? You can't, you don't, and you know what he's saying, don't tag his boss like you're going to get him fired or something like that. That's just stupid, man. It's just internet trolls being internet trolls. And, you know, I'm kind of glad he spoke out on it. I mean, a lot of times people just ignore it, which is good, but you know, maybe he just felt like it needed to be said about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. People acting like 14-year-old teeny boppers, man, on going to social media. You know, I mean, there's just no room for it, man. There's no space for it.
Agreed. Former NWA National Heavyweight Champion Aaron Stevens joined the Shining Wizards podcast the other day, and you can check it out on their podcast feed. But some of the notes he made on working with the NWA, he said, it's been a really, really amazing experience because I was completely out of wrestling as of about a year ago with no plans to return, no desire to return. I got a call from Billy Corgan, and he kind of explained to me what Power was going to be. If it had been anybody but Billy, I would have said no, but I said, okay, they already got me plane tickets, so I hopped on a plane, and then when I saw the studio and I saw the setup, I'll tell you what, from soup to nuts, everything about NWA Power And I don't like the term magical. That's excessive, but there was something very romantic about NWA Power. It was just really, really incredible. And to have the creative freedom for Billy and everybody, it's just all amazing. And to be able to perform in front of the fans is incredible. And I loved working with the Question Mark. I knew Rob would love hearing that. Just to move it on with some of the other stuff he did talk about, he said, on adapting to working without fans in the stands, he said, I think a lot of wrestlers, from what I've seen, and I don't want this to come off as a scathing critique of wrestling today, but I don't think a lot of wrestlers paid attention to the crowd when there was a crowd. They're worried about going out and hitting athletic moves, which is great. I'm not anti-flips at all. However, I believe at its core, professional wrestling is storytelling, and a good story needs good characters and characters that you can invest in. I judge a talent's worth by when their music hits and they walk into an arena, what does the crowd do? I've seen, even from WWE, when there's not a lot of people in the crowd, and this is going from a few years ago, that fans just really don't care about them. And that's sad. I think it's just really, really sad. He did talk a little bit about Damien Mizdow, for anybody that's curious. He said he felt like he had a shelf life and that had kind of run its course. They had tried all these different things. And, he says it's basically, he describes it as, quote, it's no different than when you get cast in a movie, except this is a movie that's episodic and it changes every week. And it can literally change if you sneeze in the hallway and the wrong person's behind you. And that's not an exaggeration, by the way. Your career will change. He's like, that didn't exactly happen to me, but I know where something similar happened. You can't stress out about it. At the time, I wasn't the most happy person in the world anyway. Life goes on. I've had great opportunities. I've almost been able to reinvent myself in life. So just a little bit of tidbit from that Aaron Stevens interview. Rob, that's your boy. I just didn't know if you'd have any thoughts on that.
I have a lot of thoughts about Aaron Stevens. Again, this just speaks to him being a professional. A lot of times people get hung up on the fact that he does a lot of comedy. He's always kind of done that, but I think we saw in that Trevor Murdoch match what a very intense and legitimate competitor he is in the ring. I mean, this guy really does. I know we talk about Mongrovian karate, but he really does train in martial arts and other combat sports. He is a very cultured person who's also into other forms of performance arts like drama and acting, that kind of thing. But he's one of the really truly good guys in the business. I mean, he likes, he gets paid to make us feel bad sometimes and to talk down, but he's never crosses the line professionally. And you hear that in the comments he's saying today. He's really dedicated to the sport. He's also kind of he's a humble guy. He elevates the sport above himself. And I think, one of the he's absolutely right about the magic of the studio. Those of us who have been there can tell you that it's one thing to describe it, it's another thing to see it. And just looking at how many other people imitate that, and I'm not saying that as a kind of knock on anybody, but you look at like with UWN Primetime with the banners and this and that. I mean, there's an obvious ode to that, and that's because Dave Marquez, I think, had his vision had a role in both of those to some extent. What they did with the Question Mark and Aaron Stevens is sort of just instantaneous reaction from the fan that made it work. And hopefully, these comments kind of lead me to, they don't lead me to believe anything. They kind of scare me a little bit. Like, are we seeing the last of that gimmick? Is he like paying his respects to it as kind of a salute to it? And now I'm going to go off and do other things. I really hope not, because I think he was one of the things that really, he was one of the, like him or not, man, he was one of the big attractions. He and Question Mark and that brought a lot of flavor to this show in a time and to an audience that really values prize fighting. So it was a little bit of a break, although it didn't, I think, threaten the legitimacy of the sport and didn't undermine anything. It was still nice to see them come out and some of the vignettes they would do, like the demonstrations and those skits they would do, the singing of the Mongrovian national anthem. Those are things that were really endearing to my kids, and because of that, it made it endearing to me. And I hope that we're not seeing the end of it. Yeah,
same for me. I mean, Aaron Stevens is a guy I have a massive amount of respect for, especially reading those comments. I'm like, man, get him on this show, because that's a lot of the same stuff that we talk about a lot in terms of storylines and things like that. I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, it is a sad thing to realize that a lot of guys weren't really paying that much attention to the crowd to begin with, and it hasn't really changed much for them being in this empty arena era that we're in right now. But man, I mean, this is a guy who's got a firm grasp on professional wrestling. He's got a firm grasp on the culture and storytelling and creativity. I mean, that comes through in his character. It comes through in all of his work, throughout his whole career. And so, I wondered about that comment too, Rob, saying he loved past tense, working with question mark. Hopefully that was just speaking in passing, and that's not saying that it's not gonna happen again. Because I'm not as into it as you are, Rob, but I did love it from the perspective of, like you're saying, I mean, it was an organic kind of fan created phenomena, and that there's always room for that in wrestling. And that's one of the beautiful things about wrestling that you don't get in a stage play or live performances. Otherwise, those are always pre-written and they're executed how they're rehearsed. I mean, wrestling can change on the fly, and we've seen so many instances of the fans playing such a big role in getting something to be elevated, or a continuing storyline where maybe the intent wasn't there to continue it before. And Aaron Stevens in the question mark is the perfect example of that in NWA Power. I mean, that response is what drove that storyline, and a lot of what we have today in terms of, things from the question mark and this lore of Monrovia and all this. And Rob, obviously, you and your family are in that deep, and that's purely from the fan reaction. I mean, that's something that we as wrestling fans, whether you loved it or didn't love it, you can hang your hat on it saying, we impacted professional wrestling, and that's such a cool thing. And, again, nothing but respect for a guy like Aaron Stevens and his take on pro wrestling. So that's a really cool interview.
Yeah. And I was wondering if you guys would get the same stuff out of it I did. And it sounds like you did. I have been critical of Aaron Stevens in the past, obviously. And it would disappoint me to see him gone now, because I think that showing that he had with Trevor Murdoch, I would love to see those guys continue on after that. Like, they had an amazing match. I loved seeing the two of them go head to head. And I thought we saw a really cool, aggressive side of Stevens that was the part of him that I felt like I'd been missing. So it would be disappointing to see him step out of it.
Yeah,
say that again, Rob.
A lot of what a lot of what he's been saying, because he's been heavily criticized as not being a fighting champion. And then that match with Trevor Murdoch was such a brutal match. I mean, it was crazy. And so I would love to see that continue on. And I got nothing but good things to say about Aaron Stevens and question mark. And they for me, as far as I'm concerned, they did nothing but add flavor and add something different to the show, to Power, and they did nothing but make it better. So.
Yeah, I see some discussion in our chat about who we'd rather see back. Like Woodland Goblin mentioning he wants to see Josephus back. And then some people saying they prefer question mark to Josephus. Now, I don't know why people are talking about both in the same discussion, but Rob, if you had to pick one, I think we asked this one time, didn't we? Yours was Josephus, wasn't it?
Josephus is one of my favorites of all time. I mean, he's up there. I mean, people, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Nick Aldis fan, but I became a Nick Aldis fan. Nick Aldis earned my respect for what he did as champion. I didn't come to NWA Power with the preconceived notion that, hey, I'm going to be the biggest Nick Aldis fan. I just sort of became the biggest Nick Aldis fan in the world, which I am. But I came to NWA having known about Josephus. Through the independent circuit and through what some of the stuff he'd been doing in Middle Tennessee, which is one of the most vibrant areas for independent pro wrestling in the world, along with Texas. So it was Josephus that brought me into the NWA before Nick Aldis was even in the title picture. And so I love Josephus. I think he's so creative. I think he knows the sport. He's so intuitive. He thinks on things on a different level. He's had a hand in production. I mean, in NWA Power and in Carneyland. This guy is an amazing talent. He's an intellect. He's one of those people. He's one of the inspirations behind Piper's Nuts, by the way. When we go out there to show that wrestling is not a sport for, it's not gutter entertainment. You know, it's not some sort of lower form of entertainment. It's dominated and led by people who are highly intelligent, like Billy Corgan, like Raven, like Josephus, like Mick Foley, like Brian and Thunder Rosa, you know, who I see Brian's in the chat now, who are out there making it and earning it, and they just have such a sense about what the people want to see, and they know it. And Josephus is again, he's one of those ones that you don't know the direction that he could take the NWA in. He has to be involved in it. So I really, if you ask me, Josephus has got to be back. But why do we got to pick? Why's it got to be one or the other?
Yeah, that's true. I think you're right. I mean, we've seen them both on the same show at the same time. So, or not at the same time, but they haven't crossed paths yet. But we've seen them both on the same show. Want to welcome WWE Front Row to the chat. I just want to take a brief second to say that he's had some family stuff come up recently. He's had to book a late plane flight, and he's currently out of town. It's cool of him. He's still joining us today, but his some sickness on his mother or his wife's grandmother, I believe, is where it's at. Not want to give all the details away, but just send Front Row your thoughts and prayers and all of that stuff. One of our hashtag NWA fam, the guy's always here, even in the middle of all this, he is here, and so we thank Front Row for joining us. Let's see here. On the if you're not paying attention on WWE on Bloodsport, Allison Kay is going to be taking on the American Kaiju in a little while. That's exciting. We've got Dirty Daddy, the Filthy Father, Chris Dickinson taking on John Moxley. And so there's some good stuff coming up. It's an exciting show. And if you pay attention to the chat there, just point that out. Also, I say all of that. We're talking about real wrestling and our discussions about what wrestling is about. And I think that leads perfectly, along with Bloodsport, into Joey Janela's Spring Break 4 just happened. And I don't know if anybody out there got a chance to catch that one. But I'll give you some quick results of that. Ricky Shane Page, open challenge. He defeated Orange Cassidy defeated Ricky Shane Page. Iron Beast Shane Mercer and KTB defeated the Rascals, Witz, and Xavier. Jonathan Gresham defeated Lee Moriarty. Team Pizzazu, which was Chris Dickinson, Santana, and Ortiz. God, Chris Dickinson is everywhere. He defeated Alex Zane, Blake Christian, and Jordan Oliver. Tony Deppen defeated Alex Shelley. Leo Rush defeated ACH. And Ricky Morton defeated Joey Janela in a matchup. This was Janela's third instance of matching up with a wrestling legend at his Spring Break show. Previously, he fought Marty Jannetty. He also fought the great Sasuke. I can never say that right. And there was also a clusterfuck battle royal. If you guys wish of that, and do you want to hear who was in it? I'll tell you because I wrote them all down. So I'm just going to run through it real quick. The winner was Spider Nate Webb, and I don't really know who that is, but there you go. He was the first entrant. Number 2 was former WWE wrestler JTG. Number 3 was Jimmy Lloyd. 4 was Cole Radrick. Starboy Charlie was 5. He's 17 years old, by the way. Flash Flanagan was number 6. Sugar Dunkerton, a.k.a. Pineapple Pete on AEW, was number 7. Alley Cat was number 8. Kung Fu Janela was number 9. Anyway, Violence is Forever is the tag team. They were 10 and 11. The Cardis were 12 and 13. Solo Darling and Willow Nightingale, 14 and 15. Levi Everett. I remember that guy from something. He's an Amish character. He was 16. Cassandro was 17. Dustin Thomas, he's the wrestler that has no legs. He was on that first AEW pay-per-view. He's number 18. Kerry Morton, who's Ricky Morton's son, was number 19. Cody Lane, number 20. Jody Threat, 21. I don't even remember what 22 said. It's something juicy. And 23 was Calvin Takeman, who we just saw on Bloodsport. And Billy Starks, who's actually, I think, even a younger 17 years old than that Charlie guy, was number 24. Ricky Shane Page and his entourage were 25 through 28. 29, Elena Black. Good to see her again. 30 and 34 were the Second Gear crew, Matt Justice, FEAJ Gray, Mance Warner, and Manders. 35 was Nasty Leroy. If you thought I was going to stop here, by the way, no, I wrote all these down. There's still more people. The viral Walmart wrestlers, apparently they're viral. I don't know. 36 and 37, 38, Cabana Man Dan. Number 39 was Pero. 40 and 41 were Robert Anthony and Frank the Clown. This sounds like Rob would have lost his mind at this event. Like, this is exactly what Rob's into. Especially, let's get to number 42. The Invisible Man entered the Battle Royal. Number 43 through 35 were a team called Young, Dumb, and Broke. 46 and 47 were Steve Sanders and Dylan McKay. Some promoter, John Thorne, was number 48. 49 was Logan Stunt. 50 was Marco Stunt. Thunder Kitty was number 51. Rob, you're going to love this. I know this is probably your favorite. Number 52 was Yoshihiko, which is a blow-up doll from DDT Pro Wrestling. And she worked together with her handler, Shadow Man. They actually they eliminated the Invisible Man with a Swanton Bomb. Number 53 was the final entrant, was Shark Boy. So there you go. Sorry you missed that, Rob.
Yeah, man. It sounded like it was some legit stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've actually never seen the Invisible Man wrestle, so that would have been cool.
Let's see what you did there. That's good.
We got him. We got him coming on Piper's Note.
Before me?
You should do that.
Yeah, okay. That's fun.
Will, you done messed up when the Invisible Man makes an appearance before you.
Yeah, seriously, I'm below the Invisible Man.
We wanted you next week, man, but Invisible Man said it had to be. He said he had an opening. So the Shadow Man too. We got Shadow Man coming on also.
Okay.
Oh, if you're watching Bloodsport right now, Homicide, NWA regular, is competing right now against Filthy Tom Lawler. So that's
by
exciting.
the way, I know I'm sure he's watching, Mr. Rosa, but the Tampa Bay Rays have tied it up in Game 1 of the ALCS with the Houston Astros, 1-1. Braves play tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Braves versus the Dodgers. I got the Braves and the Astros in the World Series, baby.
You think that's what's going to happen? What's going to happen to your relationship with Brian Rosa then?
It's all respect, man. I respect the Astros. He respects the Braves.
For now.
Yeah. So
don't be stealing our signs, and it'll be all good, man.
All right, let's see here. This is according to the Observer. Reopening in Florida by Governor Ron DeSantis will allow all sports to run events without governmental regulation, which was noted in the local news. That would mean full stadiums for NFL games. Right now, there doesn't appear to be plans for the state's NFL teams to open up full, but the state will not get in the way if they decide to. While not announced officially yet, the plan is for WrestleMania to be on March 28th, 2021 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, and then go to Los Angeles in 2022. WWE always wanted 2022 in Los Angeles, but the city wanted 2021. But given that California is going to be more cautious than Florida, it really just makes sense to do it this way. Right now, AEW does not seem to have any plans to run anywhere but Daly's Place because of the nature of the venue, allowing fans to be kept apart from each other and far apart from the ring and wrestling crew, with a large empty section separating them. Essentially, the fans are in the 200 and 300 section of Daly's Place. The 100 is kept empty except for some talent that's being kept apart or older, like Jake Roberts and Tully Blanchard, the Young Bucks, and Greg Valentine as examples in recent weeks. We're also in that section. While the fans you see and hear are the best are actually the wrestlers on the roster. who make up the ringside crew, similar to what WWE did with NXT talent. So just noting here that the only thing that'll probably turn this around is if the cases increase or something. But Florida opening back up, so probably going to start seeing a lot more wrestling coming out of there, I guess. I would imagine, Rob, that Georgia wouldn't be too far behind a move like that, probably. So I don't know.
We are. And I speak from the perspective of an athletic director. We've had, we're 7 weeks. We've hosted, 4 home football games. We've got number 5 coming up on Friday. I'll be there. And then we've got one more. We'll host 6 total this year. And it's had the Georgia High School Association has been affected somewhat, but it's not had any effect on us so much in North Georgia. We've been able to play pretty much all our games. We did have to reschedule one, but we have restrictions in place that are, DPH guidelines. You got numbers of layers of restrictions that you have to abide by. Usually the most restrictive are those in place by the local district. And then, our restrictions are a little more tight than the state restrictions are. But we've been able to do so. People are more or less acting with common sense, social distancing, wearing masks, those kinds of things. I think the bottom line is the rationale in some of these states down here in the South is that we have to coexist with what's going on. We have to do so safely, but life still has to go on because the virus is here. It's not going away regardless of there's a vaccine or not. It's here forever. So we've got to find ways to modify our life and our habits to make sure that that the economy doesn't stop, that our livelihoods don't stop, that life as we know it doesn't stop, but that we can still be safe and common sense and that kind of thing. So, we've been fortunate down here.
Yeah. I know the flu season's coming up too, so there's some worry there too. Ryan Romano saying AEW Dynamite is still scheduled in New Orleans for December 2nd. So if that remains the case and Thunder Rosa gets called, he's there. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Thunder Rosa. Haven't seen any more out of her on AEW, but who knows? We'll see. We'll bring you the news as soon as we have it. How about that? Let's see. What else? The Observer had a little bit more about the New Japan and AEW stuff, saying at this point the situation is the same as far as from the AEW side, that they think it's probably a positive that the leadership is changing over there. There's still people on both sides wanting a deal. There are obviously some reasons that get in the way of it. And with the pandemic, meaning it's pretty much impossible for foreign talent to come in or talent to go out. It's not something that needs to be rushed through any kind of time element. There was a lot of speculation this week. I think it's why Dave posted it, due to the fact that the Jericho 30th anniversary AEW Dynamite show, there was Tanahashi was on there with the New Japan logo in the background. And so he was on the show, and he was referenced twice, I think, in the commentary. And also during the Jon Moxley and Lance Archer stuff, they mentioned the Tokyo Dome match that the both of them had. But Meltzer responds to this saying, don't read too much into that, because Don Callis, who works for Impact, and Ultimate Dragon, who works for Dragon Gate, were also in clips on the show. Lance Storm, who recently worked for WWE, although he's not there anymore, he was on there. Similarly, a lot was said not too long ago when CMLL was honoring Paco Alonso and Jericho appeared in a clip for them. People speculated a lot there, but AEW works with AAA, and AAA and CMLL have been enemies for a quarter century. But this was just simply a case of somebody from CMLL asking Jericho if he'd do a favor, and he did. He said, if you're looking for signs of a relationship, the most likely would be Moxley defending his New Japan US title. New Japan even had Kenta cut a promo on Moxley, but he said that it just depends, like on if they would allow something that would happen, and even if they did, it's hard to believe Kenta would beat Moxley, given that he is the AEW World's Champion. So that would be a weird thing too. Anyway. So that's kind of where we're at. Also, he does go on to mention something about the TV stuff, that New Japan still has hopes of moving into the U.S. with a TV deal at some point, so that could also interfere. There's a lot of factors working in it, so there's not really any movement right now, despite the speculation. This is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
I was just it looked like Homicide just about took the head off of Taylor here, boy. He got murdered.
Oh, he just got taken down though.
Yeah.
Was he getting some like nuts there?
He was no man. He was standing over him and he kicked him in the head 4 or 5 times, and it looked like I thought the ref had stopped the match, but he didn't. So, but Homicide was had him, man. He should have stayed on top of him.
Oh, he's caught right now at a guillotine though. I don't know. It's not looking good for Homicide.
Choke or something. Man, this show's intense, man. It is intense.
Go at it. If you like technical wrestling, like Bloodsport's a good show for that. Like they just a lot of grappling and just looks like straight out brawling.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're in there fighting, man. Gosh.
Homicide calling for the end. But Filthy Tom Lawler reversing it, got the rear naked choke. Oh, now a leg lock.
Now we got some joint manipulation going on. Can't reach for the ropes. That's the thing, man. Like these guys
Joint manipulation.
Yeah. That's some things like these guys are used to reaching for ropes, and Homicide taps out. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Hard fought match, man. That was a good match.
Woo.
Sorry, I was just enjoying. I mean, normally we have like WWE on in the background. We don't often have like good, really good wrestling distracting us. So sorry to everyone, but feel free to chime in if you're watching.
Yeah, Filthy Tom Lawler is a former MLW champion, if I'm not mistaken. Oh.
Wow.
Anyway, let's see. Last bit of news I got for today. Let's see. There is a Samantha Tavel, who wrestles under the name Candy Cartwright, filed a $40 million lawsuit against Matt Riddle, World Wrestling Entertainment. This comes off the heels of that Joey Ryan lawsuit that's going on right now. Lawsuits are the latest in a series of legal actions that have gone back and forth between the two over allegations that Riddle sexually assaulted Tavel during an affair the two had, which seemed to have taken place between 2017 and 2020. I mean, we'll go into details on all of that stuff, but she's basically included a lot of people in this lawsuit. Gabe Sapolsky over at Evolve, saying he was aware of all of this stuff and was okay with it. And also that WWE, she was being used as an extra, I think is the bit of news that drags them into the lawsuit, saying she was being used as an extra on NXT a lot during the time. And then as soon as Matt Riddle was hired, not long after that, then they stopped using her and canceled her appearances. So she's including them in that lawsuit as well. So that's a thing that's happening. Let's see. If you're keeping up with the G1, I looked at it still feels alive, except for like Takahashi and Yoshihashi. They're not winning their blocks, but I think nobody expected them really. Kenta and Jeff Cobb would be difficult to win, but everybody else is still very much in this thing. I heard that the last A block card was, according to Dave Meltzer, one of the best wrestling cards he's ever seen in his entire life. And yeah, so he's saying that it is a go out of your way to watch that card. So anyway, so it makes me kind of want to check it out, but he says it's very, very good. Let's see. And Karlene Begnaud, who you would better know as Jazz, she's 48 years old. She announced officially, supposedly, I mean, I saw her on the Chris Van Vliet show But she's announced that she's retired from wrestling, with her last match being October the 5th. She said she'd plan to retire at the end of this year, but the combination of the pandemic as well as the worsening of knee and back problems made her decide to do so now. Obviously, we know who Jazz is. I think she saw Jacqueline Moore, who kind of inspired her to get into pro wrestling in '98. Paul Heyman, of course, brought her into ECW. She worked there from '99 to 2001. And she had 2 runs in WWE, 2002 to 2004, and again, 6 to 7. She's a 2-time women's champion there. Most recently, obviously, the NWA women's champion. But she had to vacate that title because she was winding down her career there and dealing with a lot of health issues. So sad to see. I've seen some disappointed people, including Lindsay Snow and those folks that hoped to get in the ring. I think we all kept hope alive that we'd see some Thunder Rosa and Jazz matching up at some point for the NWA Women's Championship, to see Jazz make another go at it. And on that Chris Van Vliet interview, she did make it sound like there's the possibility in 2021, depending on how she feels, that it's still possible. So it would be cool to see her, if she's going to do this, that maybe she could get a bigger stage for a final match or something like that. But
right.
Anyway.
Well, let me prognosticate, if I might, for a moment.
Yes, sir.
I think that, these unusual times are making people take a lot of very calculated decisions about their career for their well-being and whatnot, which I get. I understand it. But Jazz is very intimately and deeply associated with one of the most vibrant wrestling promotions going today. I'm not talking about UWN. I'm not talking about Impact. I'm talking about Mission Pro. Mission Pro is one of the baddest things going on in the world. And Gary, by bad, I mean good, if you didn't get my drift. You know what I mean?
I can't keep up with this cool kid lingo you use, Rob.
Lingo. These days, when kids say bad, it means good. So it's crazy. But anyway, she is around some of the coolest, most vibrant wrestlers in the world. She's around Thunder Rosa. She's actually working in the back, training these ladies. She's very intricately involved in this. And when it comes to wrestling, never say never. Like she said in the Van Vliet interview, 2021 is a different year. We don't know what the world's going to hold in store for us, but I have to imagine that as competitive as Jazz is, one of the greatest of all time, no doubt. We just talked about Lorraine Johnson, one of the great tag team artists in the history of women's wrestling, passing away. Jazz is not passing away. She's very much alive. She's very healthy. She's in good shape. I saw her with my own 2 eyes just last month. I'm going to see her again next month. She's going to be around, and at some point in the back of her mind, someone's always going to say, Jazz, you're one of the greatest, but you hadn't beat Thunder Rosa. You got to wrestle Thunder Rosa. And that's going to be there. And it's going to, when the world gets back to normal, that competitive edge, that fighting spirit that she has is going to, is going to make her want to do what you just said, Gary, have that one last final match, and we don't know if it's going to be the final match or not, but I just cannot imagine a world in which she doesn't say, you know what, Thunder Rosa and I have to tangle up. We got to hook up. We got to roll around in the ring. I've got to know where I stand. And the only way, these days where you stand is you wrestle Thunder Rosa.
That's exactly right. I'm with you 100%. I hope that we see that match happen. I felt like with the Van Vliet interview that she sounded pretty sure that this wasn't I don't know. She sounded, I guess I should say, more unsure that this was the end. Like she said it and she was like, yes, Lord, like I don't want to, like I'm just hurting. I'm still sore, blah, blah, blah. But, he kept pressing her and she was like, yeah, I guess if things fell in the right way, maybe. People want to see Jazz come back, but for what it's worth, she's is running as an agent for Mission Pro Wrestling. So if you want to see some of her good work, you could definitely watch those matches and know that she is behind some of that. And she is also, training future stars of wrestling in her school And one of those wrestlers, Maddie Rinkowski, is going to be competing at Mission Pro Wrestling. She is trained by Jazz. So very cool. And of course, Jake Howell in the chat mentioning that Kevin Frazier is trained by Jazz as well. So a lot of people were worried about you, Will, while you were gone, just FYI.
Sorry. I mean, it's a long show. You got to take a break every once in a while.
I told him you were pooping.
Well, that's not totally true, but okay.
Kurt Angle was on the PW Insider podcast, by the way, and he said he's got a tumor in his neck that he needed to get removed. So we wish Kurt Angle well. Former NWA World Champion
Kevin Frazier.
I just wanted to give Jake Howell an aneurysm. That's what I was going for there. Let's see. He did. I saw another interview with him this week, by the way, where somebody asked him for sure about his in-ring career, and he definitely sounded, unlike Jazz, who had a little iffiness in her voice. Kurt Angle had a very sure tone in his voice when he said he was pretty done with wrestling and wanted to put that behind him. Let's see. Here's a clickbait headline. CM Punk is returning to the ECW arena. You'll probably see that somewhere. But he is, in fact, going to return to that arena because he's going to be hosting and doing commentary for some Caged Fury Fighting Championships. There's some MMA shows that are going to be airing on the UFC Fight Pass. So there you go. MLW reached a deal with Sports Channel Network in the UK. That's a free station as far as I know. So MLW is going to get a broad release in the UK. So that's a big step for them. And Bandito has been battling COVID. Said that he's lost 13 pounds, been dealing with headaches, and is averaging about 2 hours of sleep a night. But he's turned the corner. He said it was one of the worst experiences of his life, though. And just wanted to update everybody on that. And that is literally all the news I've got. So if y'all got something to say, now's the time to say it.
That's all? That's all you got?
That's all I got. So otherwise, what we'll do from here, I think, is we'll wrap up the podcast portion of this show. We'll jump into the live chat here, hang out. We'll talk about Bloodsport as it goes on and stop feeling like we have to have such a formal flow, I think, if that'll work for everybody. And we'll do that. Of course, if you're listening to this later on, then you've got to know that you can join us live on Tuesdays and Sunday nights. And we just do the live stream. We interact with the chat, and we hang out for this extra portion that you guys don't get to hear because we're stingy like that. And anyway, Rob, tell everybody, though, on the podcast portion where they can hear you.
They can hear me on all social medias at This Is Dr. Stinson. Boom.
Nice.
That is
I like it.
The quickest and easiest he's ever done that, people.
Yeah, usually when you pitch to Rob, I start doing something else just because he's going to take about 5 minutes.
Will, where are you at?
At Hey It's Will with one L everywhere. Except for TikTok. Except for TikTok where I'm at heyitswill.com. So.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm at This Is Gary Horn on all the stuff. Make sure you follow us at the NWA Pod. Make sure you use NWA Pod as a promo code on manscaped.com where you can get 20% off and free shipping. So you want to jump on that as well. I almost forgot to do that. So thank you to the Nation Show in the chat for reminding me of that. Thank you to Alliance Blog for joining us in. All great places. You should go check out their stuff. And join our Discord. If you don't know how, just hit us up sometime. We'll hook you up. On the Twitter, on the Instagram. For me, for the hashtag NWA fan, for Hey It's Will, for Dr. Rob, we want to thank you guys for listening and enjoy your gravy cake. All right. Now I don't give a shit if y'all talk.
Well, you weren't giving us much to work with, man. It's like you went and picked the most boring news stories you could find or something.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Real news, dog.
I was
just
going through the Discord to see if you had even posted those articles on the news portion. I didn't see Jack there. We was coming in cold, man.
Yeah. Well, now we got Allison Kay versus Lindsay Snow starting right now. So now we got something.
Y'all carry it. Y'all carry it from here, guys.
Everyone in the chat, hopefully you guys are watching. If not, scroll up in the chat. But this is going to be a good one.
To get rid of some of that sickness y'all spitting.
Gary, is that your underwear? What was that?
That was my underwear, yes. I dropped my headphone too, and I don't know where the hell it went. Oh, here, I'm going to do you guys a favor in the chat. Don't tell anybody. Just hang out with us there. One of my headsets fell on the other side here.
That's wild. What do you think, Rob? What's your thoughts on the no ropes?
I mean, it's different, but I like it. I like the fact that they're going for an MMA vibe here. You know, it's a marriage between MMA and wrestling, so you got elements of each there. It's just a different. It's something we're gonna have to get used to because I think we'll see more. It's really cool. It takes out some things that we're used to, like Irish whips and that kind of thing, and going into the ropes. But this is supposed to be ground combat, submission, or surrender. So I think it's cool.
My question is, why do they still have the corners? They should just take those off. It should just be a platform.
It's probably because those posts are that tall. You know what I mean? I mean, when you set them up, those posts are the first things you bring in, and then you lay the planks across it. So I don't know if you can. You'd have to especially make something along the lines to do that. But I think they're there to kind of remind people that there's still an element of pro wrestling here. So it's and I guess theoretically you could use the ring posts.
That would be brutal. I wonder if anybody has ever done that.
Yeah, I was figuring it must have something to do with the, holding it up. It looks like that frame connects to the post. Yeah, like you said, so they're just that tall. Oh, man, this is exciting.
I know, man.
Wrap that show just in time so I can actually just watch this match now.
Yeah, if you're here in the chat and you're not watching Bloodsport,
what is Gary?
You could be. We've done everything we can do to help that happen.
I'm saying if you're choosing not to, this might be a little bit boring.
Initial takedown there. She was going for a fireman's carry that Lindsay Snow blocked, and then she ended up sweeping the leg. But it looks like Lindsay Snow's trying to get a reverse guard in there. She's actually got her in the guard. So now she's trying that joint manipulation.
See you later, Dr. Red.
Rob, have you ever done play-by-play for wrestling before?
I mean, here at the AWF, that's one of the things that I do, yeah.
What's that AWF episode on our YouTube channel? You get some Rob Stinson play-by-play.
Yeah.
Commentary.
That's right.
What's this venue, Gary? Do you know where they're at?
It's some fairground thing, and I can't remember.
Indianapolis, I believe, right?
Yes, in Indianapolis, and I can't. Yes, like some fairground there. Dang, man, and both these girls, they know how to go for reals.
What I was going to ask you, when you interviewed Allison Kay, did she go into her combat sports background at all? Did she wrestle in school? Is she got a background in any kind of MMA or jiu-jitsu or anything?
It's been a long time, but I mean, she definitely trains jiu-jitsu. Like even still today, like currently trains jiu-jitsu, but I don't know about in high school or anything like that. She's been doing a fun thing with her Instagram as well. Like she's been doing cheap horror movies. Like she's watching horror movies with like less than so much of a budget or something like that. A horror movie a night. It's kind of cool.
Hey, the other thing you want to look at, you want to get into I know the cinema shop crowd would probably appreciate it, but Josephus is doing a 31 Days of Halloween where he's doing some obscure horror movie, and so far I've been screenshotting each of the ones that he's done, just because I'm like, this is a list I can probably respect. But
not like the ones I post in my Instagram story or nothing,
Nah, well, I told you to do something and you blew me off, man.
Hey, it takes time.
Nah, bro. It don't. So we got Screamers. Then we got Psychomania on night 2. Then night 3, he did the only one that I'd heard of before, Twilight Zone the movie. I told him, I was like, man, that's a hard one for me to watch, dude. He's like, yeah, but it's still great. I'm like, true, but it's tough to watch. Night 4 was
why is it tough to watch?
just because of what happened in the Vietnam scene there, the death.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, real people died of that. Did you know that?
So it's just tough. Psychos in Love, night 4. Then night 5 was Phantom of the Paradise.
That's great.
Then night 6 he had Alice, Sweet Alice. Excuse me, that was night 7. Night 6 was Profondo Rosso.
That's deep red. I don't like it. No, it's good. It's Dario Argento. A lot of people love it. I think it's a little slow, but it's kind of a murder mystery. It's got a cool twist.
Night 7 is Alice, Sweet Alice. Then night 8 was Frozen Terror.
I don't think I've seen that.
Then like a lot of obscure ones in here. I mean, there's a couple of them I've heard of.
God dang, are y'all seeing these strikes?
Boy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Damn, for her. Like, saying it in. She's.
Night 9 was Extra. You guys aren't even listening. Yeah,
Lindsay Snow beat the shit out of Allison Kay right now. Good God.
Stay on her, girl. Stay on her. Let's see.
Literally, Woodland Goblin, I just watched all the Sleepaway Camp movies with the wife. I even dug up and found the obscure fourth one on the interwebs.
I missed night 10 for some reason. Night 11, he's got Grizzly. Let me go back and see what he did.
This is all on his Facebook, though, right? Like, he doesn't have social, like, Twitter and Insta and stuff anymore.
It's on Facebook, yeah.
God, this is brutal, man.
We watched the original Psycho a little while back, like about a week ago, and then last night, man, yesterday, all day, we just got caught up in watching some horror movies, and we watched Psycho 2, 3, and 4.
There you go, Rob.
What just happened?
Oh, snap!
How are y'all going to look away?
You got...
Is that for real?
Yep.
Oh!
Wow.
Holy
She tapped.
Nikes!
She tapped. It was quick, too.
Oh, my goodness!
Wow. Allison Kay goes down to Lindsay Snow.
Man.
Allison Kay looks unhappy. Brian Rosa, are you still in the chat? Because Thunder Rosa needs to talk some shiznit. I was about to say, Thunder's gotta drop something about this. It's Kay said something about her losing to Hikaru Shida.
The sportsmanship there. The handshake, mutual respect, which there ought to be. There ought to be. I mean, these are two of the classiest, greatest women in the world. I'm on cloud 9 right now. I'm so proud of Lindsay Snow. So proud of her.
Wow, good job, Lindsay Snow.
Well deserved, man.
God, that was, I mean, both of them in that match, man, that was well done. That was brutal. Hard hitting, some great holds.
Now, wait, what do you mean, Brian Rosa in the chat? So Allison Kay embarrassed the NWA twice in one night. What else did she do tonight? She won the first match. So I'm curious about that.
Believable.
Wow. Well, props to Lindsay Snow. Holy jeez. And NWA needs to lock up Lindsay Snow too.
No doubt, man. I'm telling you, someone will. Someone will.
Yep.
Probably WWE since she's just showing up in Raw Underground.
I am. Wow. Boy. That is amazing.
Oh, man, was anybody in the chat watching? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, tell us what you like so far if you're watching this thing.
That was intense, man.
Woo! Rob can't even contain himself. You can just see he's like giddy like a schoolgirl.
No, man. So, man. Heck of a match, boy.
Here we go.
Oh, this is it. This is the main event right here. The Dirty Daddy, the Filthy Father, Chris Dickinson. He is. That boy's got some intensity, man. I like this guy. The more I see him, the more I dig him. Like, he's just got... I don't know. I didn't know what to think of him the first time I saw him, and now I'm into what he does.
My favorite thing is watching everyone jump into the ring with no ropes because they're all kind of programmed to go under. Yeah, they'll kind of like roll in still, even though there's no ropes. It's kind of funny to me.
Yeah. Like they're just used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's muscle memory. So they'll just come out. I mean, Chris Dickinson just kind of like ducked and went into the ring, and I'm like, I mean, you could have just jumped in.
Oh, lots of trash talk on K in the chat.
Oof. I mean, it's coming from a man who his wife has been the target of a lot of her trash talk. So it's a little earned.
Yeah. What would you like to see Dickinson do to Friendship Farm? We've made peace with Friendship Farm.
You got to let that one go.
But it's going to be interesting. I sort of feel sorry for Gentleman Jervis if he ends up in the ring with Chris Dickinson.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you haven't already, you can join that 10 Pounds of Gold National Wrestling Alliance fan club group on Facebook. It's a good spot to be in to talk NWA.
Dave LaGreca, congratulations to Lindsay Snow.
Nice. AK and Marty Bell lost to the Sea Stars at Shimmer. That's what Brian Rosa's talking about a bit.
Oh man.
Looks like you're probably going to get that chance, Woodley Goblin. I think Jervis and Dickinson is going to happen eventually. It's not going to be pretty, I don't think, but maybe.
Man.
Man, it's wild to see John Moxley, you know what I mean? Just in the context of his career and where he's at, to see him in this event, doing what he loves. I think it's cool, man.
Yeah, I do like that Mox gets this freedom now because you can tell he just.
Let me ask you guys this, man. Going back to Lindsay Snow. So we have been talking a lot about in previous episodes about a rematch between Thunder Rosa and Lindsay Snow, and then of course Priscilla Kelly had that phenomenal match with Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa is creating the potential for lots of epic rivalries right now, and of course we haven't even seen her and Camille yet. Does this elevate the stature and maybe your desire to potentially see Thunder Rosa Lindsay Snow Part 2 now? Does this push this up in the echelon of
I would think that if there's rankings for this NWA Women's Championship, that was exactly the match. Like, if you wanted to treat this legit, that just put Lindsay Snow back at the number one contender spot. Like that, obviously she's got this match coming up with Raylyn, but is that her name, Raylyn?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if Allison Kay was the one challenging, if Allison Kay considered herself as former champion, number one contender, I mean, Lindsay Snow just beat her. I mean, that's two of the top contenders right there. Obviously, Brian Rosa, you mentioned Serena Deeb. Yeah, 100% would love to see that happen again too. That was a great match.
This is the result of the Destruction Tour, man. I mean, we've seen Lindsay Snow go in and have these phenomenal matches. I mean, nobody can argue that the best wrestling we've seen in the last couple of months has come from Thunder Rosa and those women that have worked with her and what Mission Pro's been putting out. And so now we were in a situation where everybody was, we're talking about in March not really having any potential on the horizon for in-ring action, to now Thunder Rosa has created a scenario where there is a wealth of potential legitimate competition. And she did that. I mean, she did that with her tour and just working the country from coast to coast. And now, from Serena Deeb to obviously there are going to be people that still want to see Allison Kay and Thunder Rosa. That's not going to go away just because she lost this. You've got Camille on the horizon. You've got Priscilla Kelly, and they've both engaged each other on social media wanting to a potential rematch. But now you got to think, man, Lindsay Snow winning the Bloodsport Cup, there's got to be a part two to that.
You would think. Yeah. What does this mean, Brian Rosa? What are you talking about? Let's see. David Valentine wanted to know, what's your secondary promotion that y'all like besides the NWA?
I mean, in terms of what I watch, I would have to say AEW. Just it's the most accessible. It's the most accessible that's not WWE. So, and I don't watch it every week, but I at least keep up with storylines, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one I watch the most. Well, I guess UWN Primetime Live right now is the one I see.
Well, yeah.
Besides NWA, I'd kind of consider that NWA for right now, but
yeah. Now we consider Mission Pro to be sort of in the family of NWA promotions, because I would.
We should. And David Valentine, if you haven't checked out Mission Pro Wrestling, you got to do that, because that's good quality wrestling right there.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm digging this thing. I'm digging seeing this Bloodsport thing. Like, these guys, it's just straight up brawling, like just technical wrestling and just fighting it. I feel like this is as exciting as anybody doing a two-toe Gradunza. Like,
even a Scandinavian one.
Yeah, that's right. I get, I mean, obviously we're watching AEW. We're staying informed mostly because we've been intrigued at the relationship that's sort of been forged between NWA and AEW, mostly through Thunder Rosa here recently, but with the appearance of Eddie Kingston and Ricky Starks and all that kind of stuff. We watched that with a great deal of interest. But like, NWA obviously is our base commitment, but UWN, if we consider that NWA, I'm really liking Mission Pro a lot. I'm wanting to see that become a weekly thing. But probably AEW and NXT. I mean, I'm watching NXT too. I really, there was a season where I was really getting into New Japan, and I think New Japan is a very, very, very elegant and worthy promotion. I just have not, with so little time, and we have to kind of prioritize where our hours are going to. I know that I'm committed to whatever the NWA does, and I'm committed to whatever Mission Pro does. So that sort of limits my ability to venture outward, but I'm really digging this blood sport.
Yeah, I think this is a cool concept. Let's see here. He said, let the tour continue.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see power continue is what I want to see. But I want to see Thunder Rosa represent all over the place. But I need to see her on power.
I need to see her in the home ship, man. Back at the home ship. Yeah, I'm with you. The mothership. The Dusty Rhodes used to call it, man. The mothership, baby. But by all means, let the tour continue as well.
Oh, why don't you do a cast watch along for some of Robert Stinson and AWF?
There you go.
Yeah. I want to, man. I want to bring the AWF show in here. I mean, you've got some great talent there too. I mean, a lot of guys that some of you guys will know. I think Sandoval, if he ever joins in, he'll recognize the name of Alex Taylor and Jeremiah Plunkett. These are names that are Aiden Wright that are respected in Middle Tennessee, which again, this is tried and true country. This is one of the most vibrant areas in pro wrestling. Lex Lee and Kevin Coffin, I think one of the best tag teams around. You're going to see the Nature Boy Paul Lee from time to time. It's and then you never know who's going to come through. Just last week we had Crazy Steve from Impact, a very creative look and very bizarre character, but really talented. I like to do that. I mean, I have a very good personal relationship with them, and I do some stuff with them. But I think we've invited them to bring their stuff on our channel, and that still may happen. But I think Lex, who's doing a lot of the organizing there, wants to try to build up their own viewership on their channel too, and I understand that for sure. But I was hoping there'd be something there, and still hold out hope that there might be something mutually beneficial that we could take advantage of, because they're like us. I mean, they're very much in the NWA fam. They're interested primarily in what's going on in Atlanta at the Power Studio and what Thunder Rosa's doing and that kind of thing. They recognize they have an AWF champion, but they recognize only one real world's champion, and that's Nick Aldis. And so they're doing all the right things, and it is a legit promotion that's one of the longest running in the Southeast. So it'd be cool to do some stuff. I like to do some watch-alongs. But this match is intense, man. There it is.
Yeah, man. And I was going to say too earlier, not to keep going back to these AEW conversations that we were having a couple months back, but the fact that Jon Moxley is in this event and able to take part in this and be himself and come show his true level of wrestling ability is just another testament to the fact that AEW is not the WWE. They're not putting all these limitations on their talent. They're letting guys like Jon Moxley go out and show, take part in these really cool events and kind of get out there. And to me, that's just a cool thing. I mean, AEW's, up there in the same conversation with the WWE, but WWE's not letting their talent go, showcase in events like this and really help boost visibility and things like that. So to me, that's just a really cool thing to see Jon in this kind of setting.
It is, and it's something that you're just not going to see with WWE talent. And right now, I mean, we not to hash up or bring back this argument up or this discussion, but really, this is what promotions ought to do, and this generally is the norm. I mean, don't get me wrong, WWE sets the bar and they dominate discussion, no doubt, but this is really outside of WWE. This is the norm. I mean, it's nothing new to see talent going in cross promotional and international and all that kind of stuff and showing up there. And it's just, these are people that love the sport, and why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go out and do like what Nick Aldis does and show up in Ring of Honor, or Moxley here showing up on Bloodsport, Allison Kay and Lindsay Snow? I mean, you should be doing that. This should be the standard.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is showcasing a level and a layer of Jon Moxley's talent that he never would have been able to showcase on WWE. And that's just such a cool thing to me to be able to see it.
I think there's something to the fact too that like if you believe in your talent, you believe in the people you've chosen to hire, then I mean, obviously Moxley's got enough visibility, but for a lot of folks, like a Lindsay Snow, but I mean, especially with like Thunder Rosa and Nick Aldis and those people, I mean, this just gets more people in front of, you know, different crowds and different places to let people see them and know them. I mean, Thunder Rosa showing up on AEW elevated her like 100 times, you know, just a lot of people know who Thunder Rosa is now. There's a good chance that, I mean, even if like 20% of those people show up to NWA Power when it comes back because they know of Thunder Rosa, I mean, that's something. That's building your audience.
Yeah. And two, what do you guys think about now? So we saw Lindsay Snow defeat Allison Kay, but then Allison Kay can still, you know, she can still legitimately claim a right to a shot at the championship by arguing that, look, what we did in that ring is a different combat sport. Blood sport is different than pro wrestling. It's a, you know, there's a domain where I'm going to be supreme, and that's in the square circle with ropes and all the traditional rules. And while you beat me on this showcase, while you beat me here and beating me in a pro wrestling ring are two different things. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's a valid way to continue the feud. That's definitely a way to keep the discussion going. That would be super interesting to see. I think right now, you know, if Billy Corgan ever gave a damn what I thought, I mean, I don't know, you know, I'm no expert, but it feels to me like they've got a lot of invested in doing things differently than the wrestling business has done things. And one of those things would be like letting your champions show up elsewhere and do other things. And so let's the more good faith stuff they do like this, the more it just, I don't know. I think it only elevates right now.
Yeah.
These guys are just beating the hell out of each other, man. And the Lakers just won the NBA championship.
Hey.
Brian Rossi, you just let's book it. We'll make that happen. We kind of did it earlier. I think my bracket had Maddie Rinkowski and La Rosa Negra in the final round. I think Rob's had Rachel Rose and La Rosa Negra in the final round. So, and I think Will was with me.
You have La Rosa Negra too, Will?
Yep.
So now we'll have to get down to brass tacks and really think about it, because I think I don't know. Wonder if we could do like a bracket challenge or something like that, like get really specific and put something on the line. I don't know why. Like Rob has to change the name in the lower left to Wiener Boy. To Hammerstone. Hell yeah.
We all have to.
Gone by that, man.
If Gary wins, we all have to do an entire 3-hour show on Alexander Hammerstone.
I love it. I think that's definitely a great stipulation. Let's do the history of Alexander Hammerstone.
Name is Alexander Hammerstone.
Nope.
Man, this is great, man.
I love it. Yeah, this is awesome.
I'm glad you made me watch this, Gary.
I was excited for it, but my thing is like New Japan, every year I say like, oh man, Bloodsport looks cool, I want to watch it, and I never do. Like I never like sit down and actually like get the pay-per-view and watch it or anything. Oh snap, Dickinson just laid him out.
Dickinson on top now, boy, throwing haymakers.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you this. I mean, you know, I am typically not a fan of, you know, non-traditional professional wrestling. Not like I don't mean like the style. I mean like whenever it's something like this where there's no ropes or there's no, there's some kind of gimmick or stipulation or something like that. So, I'm always skeptical of stuff like this. But man, I mean, this is the first time I watched Bloodsport, and this has been like top to bottom just a great show.
Yeah, it's
So I say that to everyone in the chat. I say that just so if there's anyone in the chat that's kind of like me and that would look at this and kind of thumb their nose at it, I was wrong to think that. So give it a chance because it's a hell of a show.
I was watching this interview with Moxley earlier today talking about it. Oh, he won. That's it. Man. Choked him out. Jon Moxley wins. What was I going to say? Oh, he was saying that he loved how just easy of a watch it is how he was describing it. He's like, he had watched it for a while before he finally got a chance to participate. He just wanted to so bad. He just loved how like aggressive and fast and just like exciting the whole time through. And he's like, and it just feels like no time passes. Like it's just an exciting show to watch. It's just like straight to the point and brutal and just fun to see.
I'm going to see if they shake each other's hands here at the end.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
I'm going to tell you right now, you know what? I mean, we've said that Chris Dickinson is obviously it's not to say he's not already a big star. I get that. But he's definitely been the surprise of UW in primetime, and he's been asking for marquee competition. He got it tonight, and he gave Moxley everything he had, man. Took Moxley to the limit. And
Moxley's still selling. Yeah. I love it. God, I love it.
Can't even stand up.
I'm telling you, though, the spot where he did target that knee, it looked real believable. I mean, it was intense.
So he's going – Chris Dickinson standing in the middle of the ring right now looking at Moxley. I thought for a minute Moxley was going to go over there and shake his hand or something, but maybe here he goes. The Dirty Daddy boy, that he's the real deal, man.
Mm-hmm.
He is the real deal.
Oh. He's going to speak. I got to turn this up.
Got to pull a Gary here. Saw that, Ryan Murphy. Thank you, brother. Go Dogs indeed, man. Can you guys hear what he's saying, or does it just sound real muffled to y'all? There you go. That's cool, man. That's cool.
I like it. Yeah, I was having a tough time hearing him, but
What a card, guys. Gosh, man.
Yeah.
What
Gary, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I was saying it sounded like he was saying a lot about indie wrestling and keeping indie wrestling alive, and you needed things like this and for the next generation of talent to keep names out there like Davey Boy Smith Jr. and like all of these people he was naming off, and then especially Chris Dickinson, who was saying I don't know. I like that at the end. He was like, we just need you to keep showing up. Just keep doing exactly what you're doing. And this wrestling needs this. And
He's right, man. He's right. Wow, boy.
That was good.
that was good.
Like, see, I never watch a WWE pay-per-view and feel like I feel right now. Like I felt like after Mission Pro. We left Mission Pro. We left, and we were among the last to leave. We were waiting for our Uber to get there. Brian Rosa and Thunder Rosa were in there paying out, wrapping things up. We were about the last to leave. It was close to midnight. I was so pumped, man. We went out there in downtown Austin. Tanya and I burned down we were out downtown to like 3 a.m, man. I mean, I was just like, everywhere I went, we didn't talk nothing but Mission Pro that night. Like, WWE never makes me feel that way, the way these guys just made me feel, the way Mission Pro makes me feel, the way I felt after, Cody versus Aldis. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That, like, my adrenaline is just racing right now.
No, that's awesome. That's exactly what you want. It's amazing. Like, just I felt the exact same way just watching that Mission Pro show. That's just Mission Pro had exactly the same kind of deal. Like, I felt like Mission Pro that whole night went like just it left you wanting more. It was quick and just good, solid matches, and just it was a lot of fun. And then just like that, it just feels like it doesn't take any time at all. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the show started at 8. It's just 10:15, and I mean, that says something right there too. Just like a 2-hour show, that's plenty of time to make you feel like it was worth your money to see it, And like they got it done, man. I'm excited about that one. I want to see Bloodsport again, maybe with commentary too, just like see. But that's good stuff. Oh, I can't wait for Tournament Out of Hell too. That's gonna be exciting.
I mean,
happy birthday to me.
I wish I was made of money, man, because I don't know. I'd like to go to it. We'll get there.
Ooh.
Well,
Lindsay Snow beating Allison Kay. How about that?
it's a good night of wrestling. If you didn't watch it, I would recommend going and watching the replay. That was a good show. I'm probably gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
It's just kind of one of those things you don't know you need it until you watch it, and you're like, oh, I needed this. Like, this is the wrestling I needed right now,
That's a cool concept, man. And there were a lot of good people I'd never even seen before. Like, I mean, some of it I didn't get to watch as much as I would have liked to, but I mean, I could say for sure, like, the women were awesome. Homicide and Filthy Tom Lawler was a lot of fun. And that Tankman guy, God dang, that guy looked strong. The stuff I saw from him, that guy was brutal with his strength. I'm with you, Nation Show. Indie wrestling is making a big comeback. I'm more psyched for these shows than I am for Raw, SmackDown, and Dynamite. I'm feeling that. For real. Like I don't mean this with, to be negative, but like I don't feel a thing for Raw or SmackDown right now at all. Like I do not care what's going on those shows, and the only reason I ever bring them up in the news stuff is I just feel like it's part of the wrestling culture. Like you've just kind of mentioned it, and but no, there's the real quality stuff is happening right now on the indie scenes. There's plenty out there. There's something for everybody, by the way, too, because I mean, we recapped a Joey Janela spring break if you just want the goofy stuff, and then
we got
that was
coming up, here in another couple of weeks.
Yeah, true. And but then there's that Bloodsport, which is like straight up, just like it's what it should be, which is like MMA. Like if you're going to do the wrestling version of MMA, it's like that. It's like you can do MMA, but every match is exciting instead of, the ones where they just don't do anything for like 20 minutes, Yeah. It's,
gosh, man. I got to freaking calm down, but I'm going to go out there. I want to go out here and just start doing some kung fu over here, boy.
James Lawrence, the reason WWE won't let other talent go to indie shows is so their wrestlers don't get injured on a show with little to no supervision over spots. I'm sure that's part of it. I'm also, I don't know. I feel like a few people just got injured in WWE over the last week or so. So whatever. And I do lead to Brian Rosa here. Stop giving power to WWE. They don't deserve your time. They don't give a shit about you. That's another thing that indie wrestling brings to the table for sure, is that, they're counting on you being invested. They need you to pay money. They need you to buy merch. They need you to pay for tickets. It's a weird thing how the world's come back around that like WWE bought up all of everything, and that was history of wrestling, was like Vince McMahon Jr. doing what he did. And now it feels like there's a real possibility it goes back to what it was, like the territories almost, but just these independent wrestling companies. I don't know, man. I think now looking back on it, like it hurt wrestling that happened, I think, because if there was a way for all of this stuff to get exposure, I think a lot of people would be into wrestling if this quality stuff was out there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's as challenging as 2020 has been. I think right now we're in a pretty vibrant time, and it's we've been privileged to see some really, really cool stuff here lately.
Chris Dickinson hopefully just elevated his name right there. The dude's deserving some love.
He's been in prior blood sports, and he's already a legitimate name, but you get to that next level of being that household discussion. For people talking about him all over the world, I think UWM Primetime has been good for that. And this is big, right? I mean, he took Moxley to the limit, man. I mean, what else can you do? But it's short of winning. So he's taken on Dan Severn, if I'm not mistaken, in that maybe the first Bloodsport. I feel like he. I'll have to go back, and I was reading a Wikipedia article earlier today on Bloodsport.
Yeah, he did. He'd when it was called Matt Riddle's Bloodsport in 2018, Chris Dickinson versus Dan Severn. But Chris Dickinson won that one too.
Suzuki versus Riddle, and submitted him. Severon submitted him. You had Eddie Kingston knocking out Tracy Williams in that first one. Some names we saw tonight: Tom Lawler, then you had Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Let's see, we had. Let's see if I see it. Davey Boy Smith Jr. defeating Killer Cross. Dickinson defeating Andy Williams, submitted him. And then he's been in all of them. He's been in every single Bloodsport.
Wow.
Bloodsport 2, Josh Barnett defeated Chris Dickinson by knockout. So he's 1-3 now in Bloodsports. But, I mean, just crazy, crazy, crazy matches, though. I'm going to have to go back and find the other ones, man.
Oh, the Nation Show said they asked Dan Severn about that. Dan Severon.
Severon. We got 2-1. Tampa Bay still up here in the bottom of the 7th. Runner on second with no outs. They're looking to add to this lead. I really need Houston to pull this one out, guys.
No more baseball talk, please.
Well, nobody else is talking.
Yeah, I'm like, the alternative would be just to sit here. But I can do that. Oh, man.
Well, I think it might be time to land the plane and rest up and get ready for Tuesday night. What do we got going on Tuesday night? What's the card? Do we know? We got anything yet?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Let's see here. Let's look it up. We didn't announce a single thing for NWA on that show, I don't think. Wait. Oh, yeah, they did. Well, not NWA, but there was a major announcement, remember? Like some kind of major announcement. We know Chris Masters is taking on Fred Rosser, formerly Darren Young. Elena Black is taking on Heather Monroe. There's Dan Joseph versus the Kubrick guy for the TV title. And, I mean, take a look at the bottom left of your screen here real quick. That guy's going to be there.
Oh, my gosh.
And, yeah, then the huge announcement, 8 years in the making or something like that. So whatever that is, that's happening. And let's see. Who knows? Probably plenty more surprises. There's been matches each week now that they didn't even mention. So, yeah, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate that. This is going to be fun. And, yeah, be back here Tuesday night. Join us for Primetime Live. I guess it's okay to mention this. I'll just go ahead and tell you guys since it's not just us here. But I think Danny Limelight is going to be here with us on Tuesday night, hanging out. He wants to do one of our recap shows, and so we're going to let him, I think. I haven't completely confirmed that with the boys, but I think they're pretty cool with it.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, so tune in Tuesday night after UWN Primetime Live, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be the bearded foursome instead, and see, I don't know. He's got more of a goatee. It felt like last time I saw him, but
bearded bodega.
The bearded bodega.
Ooh.
So yeah, the Danny Limelight will be with us, and we'll be talking about UWN Primetime Live, and that's going to be exciting. But thank you guys for all coming out at the NWA pod on everything. We'll keep you posted on anything we learn or change or do or anything. Stay tuned. Exciting stuff on the way. Until then, though, enjoy your gravy cake.